Welcome or welcome back to WatchAdvisor on YouTube. It's Alexander speaking, your host, and I'm very excited today because later I will talk to Captain Jim DiMatteo through Zoom. I will link up with him. He is in San Diego, I am in Vienna, and we both will talk about IWC Schaffhausen and the latest chronograph coming from IWC called SFTI.
Don't forget to subscribe and to hit the bell to get our latest notifications.
If you do so, you have the chance to win the brand new iPhone 12 Pro. The happy winner will be announced in the community section tab January 2021. Good luck.
Before getting in contact with Jim later today, I want to present him to you. Jim and I became friends. We met the first time some 10 years ago at the famous Reno air races, and since then we are meeting on a regular basis and we are exchanging our thoughts on a regular basis, and yeah, we became friends and I'm very proud of it to be friend of a Navy captain. So let me introduce you, Jim DiMatteo. Please listen what he has accomplished so far. It's incredible. After graduating from the University of California, Berkeley in 1986, Jim DiMatteo joined the US Navy, where he began an unprecedented naval aviation career. He retired as a captain and has amassed over 5,000 hours in 5 different fighter aircraft, the FA-18, the F-16, F-14, F-5 and A-4. In over 25 years of service, the only one in naval aviation history with this accomplishment. After graduating from the Navy Fighter Weapons School and flying in combat, he was recruited into the prestigious Top Gun Adversary Squadron. He accumulated more Top Gun Adversary flight time than anyone in the history of the US Navy and Marine Corps, ultimately being named the commanding officer of the adversary squadrons on each coast, so the VFC 111 and VFC 13. After command of his squadrons, Captain DiMatteo was asked to join the headquarters of Naval Aviation in San Diego, California, and worked for the Commander Naval Air Forces, overseeing the Top Gun Adversary program. Jim DiMatteo has amassed an extensive number of awards and accolades, including US Navy F-14 Fighter Pilot of the Year for the Replacement Air Group, the US Navy Adversary Pilot of the Year, the Top Hook for the best landing grades on an aircraft carrier, and the esteemed International Britannia Award from the United Kingdom. In 2018, he received his highest honor yet, being introduced into the Aviation Hall of Fame for his lifetime achievements in aviation. Pretty incredible if you have listened now to his CV. And yeah, only a couple of hours to go and I will be in contact with Jim through Zoom, and I can't wait to call him. So joining me now from San Diego, Jim DiMatteo. Hello, Jim, how are you?
Well, hello from San Diego. Yes, how are you?
Good so far, good so far. I'm in Vienna, you're in San Diego, some, I don't know how many thousand miles away. Long time no see, unfortunately. Everything good at your side?
Yeah, everything's good, but I'm ready for this virus to end so I can get back over to Austria and see you again, hopefully sometime soon.
I hope so too. I'm really keen to get back to the States, believe me. I want to talk about your role now with IWC Schaffhausen. You're bringing in lots of background knowledge as a former Top Gun pilot and a trainer of the Top Gun program. Can you please explain to my viewers what is Top Gun? What is that original badge you are using? And what is the badge people will have on their watches, the civilian badge? What's the difference and why are there 2 badges being used?
Sure. So first, Top Gun, it's in naval aviation, specific to naval aviation. In the US, we have the United States Air Force and we also have the United States Navy. And within the United States Navy, we have naval aviation. And our most advanced school, if you will, is what we call our Center of Excellence in dogfighting or flying tactical aircraft, is what we call Navy Fighter Weapons School, is the official name of it. The nickname, or the name that we all talk about, is we say Top Gun. And this started, we're actually just celebrated last year, the 50th anniversary. So it's in our 51st year now since Navy Fighter Weapons School, or Top Gun, came into existence. And sometimes people ask, well, what does Top Gun mean? And in the Navy, we will list things like, we say top hook, for example. Top hook is the competition. Every time we land on an aircraft carrier, the tail hook that is behind the airplane that stops us, catches the cable, that's what we call top hook. So we get rated against each other. Each landing gets graded, and there's a competition. And so that's where Top Gun, the origination of it, is because there was a gun and we're dogfighting against each other. That's where that word comes from, Top Gun.
I saw that you have been top hook, so you must have been one of those having the best landings on an aircraft carrier.
Yeah, I was lucky.
How many landings did you have on an aircraft carrier? Do you remember?
I have hundreds and hundreds of landings. Fortunately, most of them were pretty good. I'll tell you, it is get a lot more challenging at nighttime. Yeah. That's really where we separate ourselves, and really where we pride ourselves as naval aviators over our brethren in the Air Force or any other country as fighter pilots, because we do similar things in the air, but landing on an aircraft carrier is very, very unique just to naval aviation. So we're very proud of being able to say that we can do that. And it's extremely difficult, especially nighttime, bad weather. The ocean can be very rough. You're landing on something your runway is moving. It's a very tiny runway, and it's consistently moving, and it's very dark out there in the middle of the night. So, but yeah, we pride ourselves on that. From a dogfighting perspective, in a training perspective, this is what Navy Fighter Weapons School, Top Gun, is all about. The actual patch you can see on my watch that I wear, that logo, or that patch, is the patch that when you graduate from Navy Fighter Weapons School, when you graduate from Top Gun, we give you a patch. And the patch is worn on your shoulder, whether it's your flight jacket or your flight suit. And it's really a sense of pride, because when you walk into a ready room, or you walk into the officers club, or anywhere where people who are aviators see you, it's establishing what your level of training is, and really what your accomplishment is. And so it's very much of a sense of pride. So it's very something that when I look at it, it makes me proud, because there's the history and the heritage and the legacy of naval aviation, and really what this means. And so the fact that it's on my watch is something that's very pleasing to me and the rest of the Navy Fighter Weapons School Top Gun pilots. It's something that you worked really, really hard to get, and it's definitely an accomplishment that you're very proud of. So we only have that for authenticity. Nobody else can have that patch. I've never even heard of somebody putting a patch on, a Top Gun patch, if they didn't go to that school. And so authenticity is very important for us. And that is something that, again, is reserved just for those who have been to Top Gun and have graduated from the course or instructed there. The watch that IWC is making available to the general public, it will have a slightly different mark on it, an emblem on it, if you will, on the back. And that's the Top Gun logo that you would see more associated with the movie. This one actually does not even say the word Top Gun on it. It says Navy Fighter Weapons School. And so for the general public, the Top Gun logo that is associated with the movie, it actually says the word Top Gun. It's much more applicable to everybody else in the world, because you're not going to be able to wear this patch because you didn't go to and graduate from Top Gun, but you can have this very it's almost identical watch that I'm wearing, that I've worn in the cockpit a ton for many, many, many flights. It would be almost identical to that, except a couple little things that from a technical perspective, and that you won't have the actual patch. We actually refer to Top Gun graduates, we'll call them patch wearers, and we'll reference that. We'll say, hey, how many patch wearers in your squadron? Oh, we've got 3 patch wearers in our squadron, or there's a patch wearer, or he's got a patch. So it's one of those things that's very important, and it's very intrinsic to naval aviation.
So the badge that is on the civilian IWC, on the SFTI chrono that is now has been launched, is the badge that has been created for the movie, when the first movie was, I don't know when it was, in 2008, 7, when was it? I don't remember.
No, it's much further back than that. It was, it's actually like 35 years now.
And so the badge was created for the movie to have the word Top Gun on it, and to have something that could be used in the movie and that could be licensed for different other things.
Exactly right. And IWC is actually the only watch company, that is able to do this, that is able to make these watches for us with the actual patch, or use the license agreement that they have to use the word Top Gun. No other watch in the world has that agreement except for IWC. And so that does mean a lot to us, again, that IWC's history and heritage and legacy that they have with aviation. They have over 80 years with being involved in making watches for aviators. So that means a lot to us too, because we didn't want some company just kind of saying, oh, this is a marketing ploy or gimmick. We're gonna put Top Gun on this watch, and not have had a whole history of making really quality watches for aviators. So that's also important, that IWC shares this passion for aviation that we have as well.
Make the long story short, there are 2 versions. There's one version now being sold to the general public, and there are watches IWC is providing you, the instructors, and those who have graduated from the school, and they are able to buy the official watch. But in terms of technology, these are the same watches. You use them under real flying conditions, and if someone buys it, he gets the same watch, but the only difference is he doesn't have your badge on it.
Correct. And I think it says a lot that I've flown many, many times in a fighter jet with this watch, because people ask all the time, do we really use the watch? Do we use a watch in fighter aviation anymore? Because our avionics panels are so sophisticated, and they have the GPS, satellite timing associated with it as well. And the reality is yes, of course, in the mission phase, we'll use our avionics associated with the timing, but we really have all the other aspects of the leading up to the flight. So timing is super critical for us in aviation as a whole. It's probably the most critical thing. If there was one thing associated with aviation, time is critical, and it's been from the very beginning. Again, our history and heritage, to navigate, just basic navigation is time, distance, heading. That's how you've navigated from the very, very beginning. And so time is critical to us. We wear the watch at the very beginning of a brief. Say the brief is right now, it's in San Diego, it's 11:20. We'll say, okay, we're gonna begin the brief at 11:20. And then we'll say, okay, in 5 seconds, 4, 3, 2, 1, hack. And now everybody has got the exact same time, if you will, that we now all go off of that time. So we would say, okay, we're gonna walk to our jets at 11:45. At 12 o'clock, we're going to have a radio check-in. At 12:15, we're gonna taxi, and at 12:25, we're going to take off. All of that stuff is done on your wristwatch. So we use it very often in the flight. Because of that, we need it to be very durable. It's much more violent in a fighter jet than you think. You're moving around, you're smacking the face of the watch against the inside of the jet and the canopy. So you need a very durable face. You don't want it all scratched up. And then the conditions inside the jet itself, the pressure variations, the G-forces are very extreme. It really is amazing to me that the G-forces, 6, 7, 8, 9 Gs, depending on which jet you fly, totally distorts your body and just crushes you. Yeah. And somehow all these little tiny pieces that are in this watch still function perfectly. It's amazing. I don't know how they do it, because I know what the G-forces feel like to me, and I don't know how that they've been able to build this watch and withstand those G-forces, knowing what G-forces feel like. And it just keeps on working. And so that's really critical to us, because we don't want to have to say, oh, we're getting ready to fly now, so I better take my watch off and, leave it on the, here. We want the ability to just have our watch on and not worry about it when we're flying a fighter jet. And so the durability, the robust in nature of the watch is critical to us as well. And then lastly, of course, as vain fighter pilots that we are, we want it to look really cool. So it's got to look cool, and it's got to function well in the environment of a fighter jet. And this IWC watch is perfect for that.
And for me, as a passionate lover of mechanical wristwatches, I really like the fact that you have been choosing a mechanical wristwatch. Oh, it's cool. It's really also a sign that you still rely on, let's say, basics. And if you're relying on the most essential things, time, that you have been choosing a mechanical wristwatch. And this is very cool, I think, yeah. But they are able to do it in terms of technology, and in terms of accuracy and precision. Those watches really, they can withstand lots of things. I think I always say, rather you first give up before a good mechanical wristwatch will give up.
Absolutely. And it doesn't, we're not relying on batteries or some kind of interference, Wi-Fi, nothing like that, any kind of interference from our avionics panels as well. I guess we are a pretty elaborate winder, in our aileron rolls, etc. It's getting plenty of winding up from the movement.
Probably the most expensive winding for a mechanical wristwatch you can do. If you take all the costs, that's pretty expensive, I would say. I've never thought about winding a watch by doing some loopings or crazy things. Okay, not bad. Next time we fly together, we're going to wind our watches, okay?
Perfect. It's funny that you say that. Excuse me. We reference we say the term wind your watch. When we have, of course, fighter jets, we have sometimes emergencies in the airplane, whether it's a system, hydraulics, electrical, whatever it is, fire. Sometimes you have that. And what we say, because things are happening very, very quickly in a fighter jet, and there's a tendency, if you get a caution or warning light, to react quickly to it. And we say, if you have an emergency, first thing you do is you wind your watch. And we say that because we want people to slow down, take a breath, analyze, determine what really is happening with the emergency. Don't overreact or react too quickly and do the wrong thing. So we actually use that term all the time. We say, wind your watch. And the idea is that you just take a breath and you slow down. But I didn't think of that until you just said wind or watch.
I didn't know that, but this is really, really interesting. And I assume this also comes from the generation before you, probably from your father, who was also being a pilot. And I assume they had the same things. They were not overreacting, and they said, okay, they need a term or a saying, okay, wind your watch, that's not bad. That's not. Next time when someone is really overreacting in the situation, and we say, okay, calm down, wind your watch.
Yeah, now see, you're a fighter pilot. You're right. I'm sure it was. And that's also what's kind of nice about the mechanical watch is we're very passionate about the history and heritage and legacy of the fighter pilots that have come before us. We really believe, we say we stand on the shoulders of the giants that came before us, because we have an incredible respect and appreciation for what they did in the 40s, 50s, 60s, that early generation of tactical aviation. And so to think that they were using a watch very similar to how we're using a watch is 50 years ago, 60 years ago is comforting to us. It brings us back to our roots, and it makes us appreciative of what we have today. It's not just all fancy technology that's sitting in your avionics panels. We're still using this the same way that my dad did in the 1940s, which is amazing.
It keeps tradition, and I personally find it very nice that those young pilots spend some money, they buy a mechanical wristwatch, they buy something that will probably stay on their wrist or stay in the family for generations. They can hand it over to their kids later. So it's also starting their own tradition with their own watch, with something they have achieved with the proper badge on. So because they will be flying for a couple of years, then retire, and then they still have the memories, and it's a mechanical wristwatch that will work in theory for an eternity, because you just have to service the watch. It will not break. It will not need a battery.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely. And I look forward to handing this down to my son.
Yeah, you were so kind to send me some pictures, very early days. I think there's one picture where you're sitting with your son in the cockpit when he was, how old was he?
I think 6 months old or something like that. That was his first flight.
Crazy. And he's smiling. He's really like...
Yeah, we used to call turbulence in Disneyland here. We have a ride called Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. And that's what I would always reference. To get them used to turbulence, I would shake the plane up a little bit. And the kids just love being bounced around. Or when mom sat in the back and I would bounce mom's head off the roof. Kids love that. Mom didn't like that, but mom being my wife, their mom.
I see. Of course. Yeah, no, I understood. Of course. Well, thank you for giving me some insights about the difference about the badges. Lots of questions have been asked in the past already about those badges, the meaning of the badges. I clearly understand. I also clearly see your point of view, saying, okay, this badge is ours, so it stays in that elite, or in that group of people who did the training, who are graduates or are instructors later on. And the licensed badge available to a greater public is the one from the film. It's still the same watch. It's still the same mechanics. It's still a watch that in theory could make it into a cockpit, withstand all the G-forces, and it's just that little difference.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Yeah, this has been very enjoyable, and I appreciate the time to speak with you. And, I have another watch as well, that this one that the instructors at Top Gun get as well.
Can you hold it once again to the, yeah.
Sure.
This is, I see, this is the one with the blue dial. That's the one that is available to instructors. Is this correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
It is again a watch IWC specially is manufacturing for you, and it is available to instructors. So that's the next level. You're not only a graduate, but an instructor.
Correct.
Wow.
So, and they're the only ones, able to do this. So it's authentic.
Very nice.
And again, worn in the jet. I can't overemphasize how some other watches, it would be terrible to have it either get damaged and not work properly and not be precise, because we need precision, of course. And it would be terrible if you had to take the watch off every time. Like if you went in the swimming pool and you had to take off the watch every time before you went in the swimming pool. But if you're a fighter pilot and you had to take it off and leave it in the ready room because it's going to break if you go in the plane, that would not be a good watch to have for fighter pilots. So the durability of it is very critical. And don't forget, it looks really, really cool.
I see you're proud of it. But you are buying those watches. You're not gifted them. So all the pilots and all the graduates have to buy them.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. Absolutely. Okay. And now I fly for Tactical Air Support, which is the Top Gun Adversary. So we play the bad guys. This is basically the scenario that we build in the Top Gun world, is to give, if you're the fighter pilot, I want to simulate a potential adversary that you might face, and I have to do that the best way possible. And we typically talk about three things. I want the airplane to simulate the adversary airplane. I want the weapon systems to simulate it. And then I want the pilot to do his tactics and maneuvers, if you will, to simulate it. So that's what we use at the Fighter Weapons School, and in the adversary perspective, what we call Top Gun Adversary. And so that's my Tactical Air Support is the squadron I still fly with today, even though I've retired from the Navy. I still fly with today in the F5, and fly with the watch next week. I will. So it's current, and which is something we're very proud of in naval aviation.
Wow. So I don't want to be one of those who you are hunting or you are challenging, or you are, I don't know, trying to, lose the dog, trying to make errors so that you're winning the dogfight.
Well, I love, thank you for putting the F-18 on your screen behind you.
Yeah, I was lucky. I was on an aircraft carrier years ago. I was on the USS Ronald Reagan, and these are pictures I actually took there. It was, by the way, with IWC Schaffhausen. I was there when they introduced the entire Top Gun program. I had the chance to be one of the chosen journalists who were allowed to go on board, and we had some incredible hours there. Amazing to see, and I really got some of this feeling you just described before landing at night. It was incredible. It was like in a thriller. You were standing on the visitor desk or deck, and you were looking, and this was like a thriller. It was incredible. There was such a tension everywhere. Everybody 100% concentrated, and it's incredible. I remember the noise and everything. Incredible.
You're very fortunate to have experienced that. And you just reminded me of something else. Not only is dogfighting in the G-forces a big deal, but the catapult launch. Yes. When we salute and we accelerate from 0 to 180 miles an hour in 2 seconds, the watch has to withstand that as well. Again, it's a pretty violent, as you know, pretty violent movement there. So you're very fortunate to have experienced that firsthand. And then I remember bringing you to Top Gun in Fallon, Nevada a few years ago, and got to show you around that place as well. So we share a rich history and a good friendship, and I appreciate all you do to educate the world about Top Gun and naval aviation.
You know, it's having respect of what you're doing. It's incredible what you are accomplishing and doing in terms of everything is so perfect. When you are on an aircraft carrier, when you see what's happening there, everything is so well organized, so perfect. I was just amazed. You know, it is. And when I saw the way how you're training in Fallon and the spirit there, yeah, respect, sir.
Well, it's mutually shared with you and in
Very
your
good.
profession as well.
So, Jim, thank you very much explaining us a little bit to the viewers. What is the difference in between badge and badge, watch and watch? Basic is to repeat that again. The watches are the same, the badges are different, but what people buying an SFTI chrono get is a watch that has been approved by or worn by your guys in jets, has flown through different conditions, G-forces, positive, negative G-forces, has been shaken, wound when you do your rolls. Most expensive winding, that was a good one. I have really a good one. We're winding our watches in the air, okay. And a very expensive one. Oh my goodness. Okay. Thank you very much. All the best to you. Hope to see you very soon. It's time that we see each other again.
I hope so. Thank you very much for your time. This was very enjoyable.
Thank you very much for joining us today. Bye-bye to San Diego. And yeah, stay safe and sound, as we say.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Auf Wiedersehen.